In the era of gaming that took place in 2012 to 2013, there was a lot of talk around this up-and-coming game called Minecraft. It wasn't even out of beta yet, and it still had more players than some AAA games at the time. Unfortunately for console players, this game wouldn't be available to them for a little while, but the Xbox players had a saving grace in the Xbox 360 indie games. Back then, the Xbox 360 had its own library of indie games that usually just cost $1. As Minecraft was growing in popularity, this indie game section was flooded with Minecraft clones appealing to people who wanted to play Minecraft or at least something like it until it officially came out on the Xbox 360. Of all the indie games that came out, the highest rated and most bought indie game was made by JForce and was called Murder Miners. It was a hybrid of Halo and Minecraft. There are many reasons why this game topped the charts on the 360 indie games. To be honest, most of the indie games are just one-off minigames or low-effort trash put out to make a quick buck. But there are a few genuine gems in this dark alley of gaming. This game is the gem that shines the brightest. Of course, everyone's first impression is a feeling of being underwhelmed. It looks like a generic first-person shooter with the graphics of Minecraft. How could that be appealing? Well, as you learn more about what can be achieved in the game and how it's really about short bursts of chaotic fun in the matches, it begins to set in that this is a special kind of game that has unfortunately gone under the radar of most people's searches in games. First, let's talk about the obvious similarities to Halo and Minecraft. In reality, it's more like the gameplay of Halo Combat Evolved with the graphics of Minecraft. There is no survival mode like in Minecraft, instead it just consists of game modes that are lifted straight from Halo and other shooter games. The block aesthetic is pretty much just used for simple map making and a simple look to the game. In PvP scenarios, the gameplay can become surprisingly intense as the gameplay actually becomes pretty fast-paced. The pistol is about as powerful as it is in Halo CE, leading to games playing similar to the pistol duels of Halo CE, but even more intense due to the quick movement of the players in this game. The sniper is pretty traditional. It's pretty much got the potential to one-shot kill if you're precise enough, same as any other sniper in FPS games that you've heard of. The shotgun has an alt-fire which allows you to camouflage as the block you're standing on, allowing you to sneak around or wait until an enemy gets close enough for you to blast them and take them out in one shot. The movement is also a nice detail in this game that doesn't get enough credit. Developers wanted to incorporate movement that made you like a ninja, so you can perform a sort of double jump if you're moving against a wall, and you can also evade in any direction at the cost of some of your health, forcing you to take a risk each time you try to evade danger or catch up to your enemy quickly. This kind of movement spices up the gameplay much more than you would think, and mastering it gives you an edge in an intense match. There's also a hookshot weapon that acts as the game's grappling hook, either pulling objects or players to you, or quickly crossing the map to a platform or structure. I'd also like to point out that this was implemented far before Halo Infinite was even announced, making it funny to think that this game was basically a Halo clone actually beat Halo to the punch by a big gap in time for the grappling hook. The game modes are simple enough. Murder Match is essentially a free-for-all mode, with Team Murder Match being the same as Team Slayer. Zombie Survival adds an AI zombie horde to chase you around the map to try to kill you, but their AI leaves something to be desired as all they do is try to run directly to your location and don't have any sort of pathfinding built into them, making it easy to shelter yourselves from them on any map. There's the infection mode, which can pair nicely with the zombie horde, seeing as how you can become infected by the AI zombies and then join them and even help them infect other players by tearing down their shelter. Zombies in this game can also use vehicles and their own form of grappling hook if you're infected. Besides those modes, there's also a capture the flag mode, Zombie Knot, which is essentially Juggernaut, and a Battle Royale mode. Alone, these modes are fairly simple, but if you ever get bored with them, you can mix and match them in all sorts of ways. You could have a battle royale but also add in zombies as well as zombie infection, turning it into a unique game that will unfortunately also be over very quickly. You can also combine capture the flag with zombies or even the one life mode from battle royale, creating an elimination style objective mode. While some of the modes don't mix too well, it's still fun to experiment and at least try them out for fun sometimes. There's also the standard map making mode, which is similar to creative in Minecraft, where there's no cooldown for placing multiple blocks, as well as gaining the ability to fly and have more powerful weapon abilities. There are many ways to spice up your matches, and most people I've seen actually get so engrossed in the game that they forget that they're playing a Halo/Minecraft ripoff and just have fun with it. Another thing that this game has over current Halo games is the fact that it has split screen for up to 4 players per system, allowing for local play as well as many colors to choose for individual details of your miner. Maybe 343 could take notes from this team. The best part about this game was its small but tight-knit community that made sure the game stayed afloat by always making awesome new maps for people to play on. Imagine the scene of Halo 3 custom games, always improving, innovating, finding new ways for players to have fun in the enormous sandbox the developers made. That's pretty much the whole game for Murder Miners. The community made their own fun while the devs sprinkled in new content with updates over time. Unfortunately, this game's staying power began to decline greatly after the release of the Xbox One. Since the player base was entirely dedicated to the Xbox 360 and the game was unavailable on the Xbox One, many players slowly started to get the upgrade and didn't really play Murder Miners much anymore, as the Xbox One didn't allow their previous indie games to be played on the new system. While Murder Miners was never able to compete with the player numbers of the actual Halos, you could always count on at least a few games going on at all times with several different players playing every single day. Now that players were moving on, the game was quickly on its way to becoming abandoned, with old fans hoping that it would someday be available on the Xbox One, despite how slim the chances seemed. As time progressed and the game rapidly became more inactive, a stronger push was made for a Steam release than before to have a PC port which would remain timeless, to avoid the same issue as having it only on the Xbox 360. After some time, the game was finally greenlit on Steam in 2014. Old fans quickly flocked to the PC to enjoy the game the same as before, but this time on PC. The game still received new updates over time, and on the PC it was even easier to share maps thanks to the game having a workshop page to download maps. The game entered a renaissance era and regained its status as a niche indie game, but this time on Steam, and reaching a wider audience while still retaining old fans. Even if activity was still lower than its peak years on the 360, there are game nights every Wednesday that are practically guaranteed to be at least almost full. As Discord grew in popularity, there was eventually an official Murder Miners Discord that was made and is still up today to host the game nights and for fans to chat amongst each other or ask the developers questions. As time went on, the developers made it clear that they wanted to port the game to the Xbox One as well, though fans were already satisfied with the PC port. It wouldn't be until 2019, but JForce would finally port the best 360 indie game to the Xbox One. A feat that is truly impressive when you stand back and look at Murder Miners for what it is compared to the big AAA releases on the platform. The new port saw a good amount of activity for a short time before entering a state of nearly dead. Today there's usually at least one person playing the game, but it's difficult to get a full game without coordination from Discord. It's also more difficult to share maps in the Xbox One port than it is on the PC, and new updates only come out to the PC, so the Xbox One port is practically discontinued today. Despite all the setbacks and time that has passed, the PC port is still doing okay after all this time. There are still game nights and a good amount of activity for what the game is. There is even a 10th anniversary update and game night that spanned across all 3 versions of the game. For now, the fanbase is mostly awaiting the release of the next-gen sequel to Murder Miners called Murder Miners X, a game that was announced as the Xbox One was released back in the day. See, they planned on mostly leaving the first game behind in favor of this next-gen sequel, as it would take advantage of the new power within the new generation of consoles. Unfortunately, this game would become to JForce what Halo Infinite is to 343. That is, this game has been delayed time and time again, and while what we've seen of this new game so far does seem like a drastic improvement on all fronts compared to the first game, seems like it's been in development for so many years and fans have been eagerly awaiting it since the first footage of it was shown. So for now, this is where the story of Murder Miners ends. I always look at this game with fond memories, as it's a lot of fun no matter how you play it. Unfortunately, many people get turned away by the graphics alone, writing it off as another Minecraft clone when it's really so much more than that. What I've put in this video was really a brief overview of the game's life cycle as well as what you can expect from playing it. If you're watching this and haven't played it before, then I definitely recommend you try it on Steam. Despite how few modes there may seem to be, you can find a lot of fun with them or mixing and matching them as well with your friends. You won't need a strong PC, and if you're struggling to find players, you can always try to organize a game on the official Discord. The game is only $3 on Steam, and in my opinion, it's well worth the price. The game is still updated every now and then, with new additions to keep the game fresh for the small player base it has. Everyone is still eagerly awaiting the sequel that will hopefully make a bigger splash than the original game did. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know this game is definitely obscure today, but at one point it was known by a group of Xbox 360 gamers that ventured into the indie game section for cheap games and found some real cheap gems instead. It's understandable that it's out of the spotlight now, but I think a lot of people could have more fun with this game if they just tried it out. I probably will make some more videos of this game someday to showcase more gameplay and probably some funny matches too, but for now this is the end of the video, so thank you for watching.